now. And one of those concerns, I think, is you look at the 2020 election, never before in history have we done this volume of mail-in ballots. You look at states like Pennsylvania, they had 9 times the mail-in ballots than they had in 2016. So I think it's incumbent upon the media, incumbent upon us all to ensure that that was done correctly. And there are a lot of concerns with if the Pennsylvania election, the way it was conducted, was constitutional in extending the deadline for ballots to come in. Also questions about no signature verification for mail-in ballots as well. So I think there are a lot of questions, that we should all be examining, particularly as we look forward to 2021, in ensuring that those questions are answered by the time a new president is sworn in or by the time of inauguration.
If there's a full investigation of all irregularities of any kind, a full investigation, it's all out there, and it is found that the irregularities do not change the vote in any state, do not change the Electoral College vote at all, do you think the president should then concede?
Well, if everything goes through litigation, but even, Stuart, just from a common sense standpoint, you look at a state like Washington, it took them 5 years to move into all mail-in ballots, to the universal mail-in ballots. Now, a lot of states didn't do that to that scale. However, they did increase, as I previously mentioned in Pennsylvania, 9 times what they did in 2016. So it just defies logic. It defies common sense that all of that was done correctly, even without the implication of any sort of fraud or anything like that. Just the fact that the sheer volume they were unprepared for, I believe states were unprepared for, as we saw, even if you look at states like New York with the primary elections, the fact that you had double-digit invalidation rates because you have people doing it for the first time, you have state boards that are unprepared for it. It defies common sense and logic that everything was done correctly. And once we've entered this territory of mail-in ballots, we have to ensure that it is done correctly moving forward, or you're going to continue to have lingering questions with every election. So I think just from a common sense standpoint, without even raising questions about malfeasance or anything like that, we should all be wanting to get to the bottom and making sure that everything is done correctly and to the letter of the law.
Yes, exactly.
And I worry that I think there's just a lack of intellectual curiosity by so many people right now and wanting to get those answers. And that is frustrating to me. And I think frustrating to, 71 million people who supported the president.
I agree entirely. If this were the other way around, the New York Times, the Washington Post, CBS, et cetera, they'd all be launching mammoth investigations of any possible wrongdoing. But it's not that way around, and so there's no interest on the part of the media, seems to me. Go ahead.
I mean, we had people in the media saying that somehow Russia swayed the election with the nominal amount of money they spent in Facebook ads, who uncritically pushed the narrative that Russia stole the 2016 and President Trump was then illegitimate as a result, who then aren't raising questions about this science experiment of an election we had, where we had mail-in ballots that states just simply weren't prepared for. And that's even without raising questions about the fact that there's hundreds of pages of individuals who have sworn affidavits raising questions about things that they saw that potentially were wrong. And I think that it does more harm to not question and then not to want to answer some of these questions to get to the bottom of it than saying there's nothing to see here, everyone move along. And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But I think it is worthwhile to look into it.
You defend the integrity of elections by investigating to the nth degree and make sure that at the end of the day it is absolutely fair and above board. That's what both sides should be looking for and pressing for. I think we agree. Lisa, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely.
I'm going to segue away now. Left-hand side of the screen, you saw President-elect Joe Biden at